Not only is this module easy to install and set up, user-friendly, but it gives you a huge amount of financial data for free. The API that I'm talking about is, of course, the Yahoo Finance API. As a beginner quant trader, I find it extremely useful to backtest my strategies using this without investing in actual data. The only disadvantage about this API is that it suffers from survivorship bias. So you do have to keep that in mind when you're backtesting your strategies. But I highly recommend it to all beginners who want to get into this field and learn how to use time series data. In this video, I will be teaching you how to set up and install this API in your system, how to get any stocks historical data, and also get the company's financial statements and shareholder information. I have given the link for the Google Collab with which you can follow along with me. If you don't know about Google Collab, it's this free software that requires no installation and you can get started coding immediately. So let's first go over the installation part. If you are coding this locally, it may be Jupyter Notebook or just a coding editor using Python, you can use this command pip install YahooFinance. I've also given a bunch of other ways you can install this using Conda, installing it from GitHub. So whichever one you prefer, you can go along with that. The next thing we're going to be covering is the basics. So if you want to import Yahoo Finance, just write import Yahoo Finance as YF and do shift enter to run. Then we're going to get stock data for any stock that we want. So I'm just going to choose Apple. I'm just going to do Apple is equal to Yahoo Finance dot ticker. So you get the ticker symbol, and then you enter the ticker symbol for that stock. If you don't know the ticker symbol for any stock, you can just go and type ticker symbol for Apple and just copy this. If you are on Indian stocks, then you always have to write .nsc after the stock name, otherwise it won't show. Let's just define a start and end date for the historical data that we want. So I can just say 2020 is the start date, January 1st, and the end date could be 2024, January 1st. Then we're going to run the command to get the historical data. So use our ticker symbol that we generated before, type history to get the historical data, and do start is equal to I can comment this out for now. Now let's just run both of these cells. If you want to print this, just type hist. You can see that you have downloaded all the financial data from 2020 to 2024. If you want to download stock data but you don't want to specify the end date, then the end date will default to yesterday's closing price. So let's just try that out. If you do apple.history start is equal to start date and then print it, you can see that it runs from 2020 to the 20th of March. This is a little bit off topic, but if you want to plot the data, you can install matplotlib and just run this command. So we plotted the stock data for Apple from 2020 to 2024. A lot of people want to fetch stock data for predefined periods, such as 1 month or 1 year or even for 1 day. Let's run all these for the time periods of 1 day. and then 1 month and 1 year. And I will print this and show you how it looks. This gave us today's closing price. If we print history 2, then it's going to give us 1 month's worth of historical data. Run this for history 3 and exactly 1 year before we get the data. A lot of people like to use Python's DateTime module to fetch stock data between custom date ranges. And this gives you a more precise analysis because after you specify today's date, you can just use numbers to go back to whatever start date that you want. So if you don't have DateTime installed, you can just use pip install DateTime, and then we can do DateTime now. For start date, we do today's date minus time delta and days to 365. This gives us today's date minus 1 year. So if you run it, we get the day. This is today, and this is 1 year before. We can also download the data for multiple stocks at the same time, and you can do this by using lists. You can define the list outside or inside the Yahoo Finance command, but I'm just going to define it inside. Let's get Apple, and also let's get Microsoft. The start date you can define as 2020. We can run this. We get the stock data for Apple and Microsoft. If you want to make it look better, you don't use the print command, funnily. There. Oh, I misspelled Apple. There you go. You get the Apple and Microsoft data together. Is it Apple? Get the start date. Let's just use the start date that we used before. And then we do auto / just is equal to true. And this gives us the adjusted closing prices. A lot of people like to use interval-based data retrieval. This is because normally the data that you get is always for 1 day. So this is 2020's closing price. This is 23rd March closing price, is 24th March closing price. And let's say you want data for every minute, or maybe every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes. So these are all the intervals that you get data for. You can use that. Let me show you how to download. So, stock price, Apple. Let's start. And if I do interval equal to 1M, this is going to give me a lot of data because this is 1 minute data and this is last year. So let's see what happens. Okay, I did not know that, but this means that you cannot get 1 minute's data for 1 year, which is 2024 in March, and then yes, there you go. Now you're getting every minute data, every minute's data. 9:30, 9:31, 9:32. Let's jump into the advanced feature section for traders and investors. We're gonna start by getting the stock's metadata. So let's define a stock, MSFT Microsoft. And let's get the ticker symbol for that. Then we first have to get the historical data before we can get the metadata. So we're gonna do history. So we're gonna do Microsoft.history. And let's set the period for 1 month. It's gonna get us last month's historical data. Then we're gonna get the metadata. This downloads all the metadata that you might need. The symbol, exchange name. Let's get on with downloading the financial statements. So we can get the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow. So we're gonna download Microsoft income statement. We're gonna do Microsoft.income statement. Then we can do the balance sheet, and we can do cash flow. Print. If for some reason you also want the stock's shareholder data, so you can use these commands. So Microsoft major holders. So this is the breakdown of how Apple's shares are divided. You can also get the institutional shareholder data as well. You can see the major shareholders, Vanguard, BlackRock, etc. You can also see the mutual fund shareholders for Apple as well. I've provided a link to the resources for the official documentation of Yahoo Finance. And in this, they basically go over everything else that I have not covered. That is some recommendations, I don't know, maybe the ISIN code, the options expiration dates, the news. So let's just run news and see what happens. I'm not exactly sure because I have not used this. You basically get all the links to the news. So this can be quite handy in a lot of situations where you want to automate maybe sentiment analysis, etc. If you enjoyed this video and found all this information useful, be sure to check out my other video on Monte Carlo stock price prediction, in which I go over how to predict stock prices using the Monte Carlo simulation. My next video is going to be about linear and logistic regression and how you can develop trading strategies using those ML tools. So leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below if you like this video and what you might want to see next.